hot because I was just doing cold. Oh, yeah.
What'd you do?
Oh,
Well, Ms. Norwood.
it's just ongoing injury. It's just overwork.
You didn't like the way it was being done.
It's probably been going on for 10 or 15 years. September, I had a pretty bad spot of it, and then Saturday, it just, something happened. It's right down kind of where my spine and my pelvis come together. I'm sure it's.
Am I well prepared for you? Nope.
Said there was some misalignment down there, so they sent me the physical therapy video stuff. Any stretch I do with never really quite gets there, so I'm sure I need to get an MRI.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Lynn had surgery this
I've got
fall.
a disc or
Yeah.
something pinched really bad. So,
Need a clean out.
just trying to work with it all.
Ginger, are you here?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Welcome.
No, I'm not here. I'm there, but I'm there.
I saw an R with Whitman. I thought that might be you.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if Roy was going to be home in time, but that's okay. We have other issues in the household.
Okay.
Well, we have all board members.
David.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him.
David was speeding tonight and he's been late up all weekend too.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's the littlest thing, sometimes it's sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's always tight back here all the time. It's just like.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
We just finished with my
Just
report.
finished superintendent's report.
We'll go right into principal report.
Right.
And
Of course.
I think Ms. Norwood did not want to talk to us a couple of weeks ago. I think that's why. No. I didn't think.
That's not true. I'm ready to talk now.
All right, we'll blame the middle school principal. I don't see that name anywhere yet.
There you go. Blame him.
Yeah, if he's not here to defend himself, we'll blame him.
Uh-huh. Same. Yeah. David seems like 2 pillows, like.
Yeah.
Keep it over there,
Try. Let's say if I try to take some. I don't know, PM, then gotta wake up with that.
Well, so much for that.
Yeah.
Wake up is.
Yeah.
Mr.
We've still got Jamie Fluke to blame.
No kidding.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
now we can't blame any of the principals. They're all here. Good deal.
Well, I've got a vice principal we can blame. It's his fault for everything.
Sure, why not? As long as he's not here to defend himself.
Perfect. We're good.
Mr. Booker, if we can get a little more volume, please, on the screen, folks. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're right.
Mr. Draper, would you say something for us, please?
Yeah, hello, everybody.
Thank you.
Good evening.
We've got good
Yep.
volume then. Okay. It is 7 o'clock. It is time to continue the Willamina School Board District meeting, whatever it is we're doing. Whatever we started 2 weeks ago, we're continuing now. And we left off with just finishing the superintendent's report. We are on principal reports. Ms. Norwood, you willing to talk to us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. For professional development last month, we had a really wonderful opportunity. All of our staff has been trained in the PACS Good Behavior game. And through the Yamhill County Care Organization, we were able to have them fund a second part of that called PACS Heroes. And
I think we need to have Ginger mute. Ginger, can
Yeah.
you mute?
I can hear.
Can you mute your screen though? We're getting your back.
Yeah, I'll mute that. Hang on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sorry, thanks, Ginger. So this part of the PACS training focused on tier 2 and tier 3 strategies that we are able to use with our kids that need more behavior support than just tier 1. So it was really a wonderful opportunity. Our staff got 2 days worth of training, and it was funded by the YCCO. So big thank you to them. As far as reopening, things have changed a bit since I wrote this last report. We have had first and second graders back on campus starting February 9th, and everything is going really well. We extended our AM session to 3 hours. So we have kids on campus from 8 to 11, and our afternoon session from 12:30 to 3:30. So kindergarten went from 2 hours to 3 hours, and things are running really smoothly. Lunches are consumed at home, and the cafeteria modified. Instead of using buses, they're doing the pickup sites that they were using back in the early spring. So things are going really well for that. We're excited to have staff members in grades 3 through 5 joined us today for the first time. So everybody's back on campus. And we will be welcoming back 3rd through 5th graders on March 9th after every staff member receives, if they want to, vaccine number 2. As far as staff and student recognition, we are continuing with the participation incentives. This month, they were able to get a gift certificate for free hot chocolate from Slow Train, and then the grand prize wins some Willamina Elementary t-shirts or sweatshirts. Coming up for current events, we've kind of passed all those, first and second graders returning. Looking into March, we've got 3rd through 5th graders returning, and our enrollment is holding steady. We haven't fluctuated too much. Now that we're starting to get students coming back onto campus, it is fluctuating a little bit, but we're holding pretty steady, about 370 students. And that is it. Any questions?
Any questions from the board here? Ms. Whitman, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Thank
All
you.
Thank you, guys.
We'll move on to middle and high school.
All right. I'm going to start this week. So we had, I'm going to talk a little bit about professional development activities. And so we've been spending a lot of time around engagement and around just how students have been doing throughout the whole semester. And we've been looking at data on a weekly basis. And we took some information, we polled students in January, and one of the things we implemented was an improvement week. And that was at the very end of semester 1. We learned, we shared it last time, but we just learned that was something that students felt like they could use some extra help, and also some help with organizational skills. And so we allowed students to come in to the building, into our internet classroom, and we had our academic coaches from the tribe, along with several of our staff members in the gym that were helping students, helping get them organized, find out what they needed. But any student who wanted to improve their grade could participate. And so we had about 120 students take advantage of the opportunity to come to campus. And then we had others that took advantage of it virtually. And then what we did is the students had that week to work through and meet with their teachers, and to get their work caught up, or in some cases better understand what was expected of them. And so at the end, we did a data review. We just got our grades back for the end of the semester. And so we had been collecting that data each week, and we took sort of like for each grade level, we looked at how many students were failing classes, how many Fs we had overall, and then what percentage of students in each grade level were failing classes. And it was, some weeks it was rather high, and then that would focus us to like, what are some things we could be trying, doing differently? But at the end, through all of our fluctuating, at the end, with all of the different things that people considered and tried, we had a decrease of 488 total Fs, 6 through 12. So that means we lowered the numbers considerably after that improvement week. And like I said, some of that was due to improvement week, and some of it was just due to other things that teachers were trying with students. And then an overall percentage, we had 28 to 37% of our students come out of that area of getting F. So they made that growth so that they were passing classes. So it was a significant amount of work, but it was also very much worth it. And we learned a lot about the kids, not only academically, but just what they needed and why they were struggling. And then we were able to maintain our internet classroom into semester 2. And several students have been taking advantage of that as well, coming in and just working, doing their classes from there and having help that circulates around so that if they need it. So that's been really, really a really positive thing. And it's kind of also helped us think about our reopening and some of the interesting things that we've had to encounter during the internet classroom. And it's like a smaller microcosm of what we'll see when we bring more kids back. So it's helped giving us some insight. And then today we just had a really great professional learning given by Margaret Bachmeyer, our 6th grade teacher. And she took our staff through a training on Nearpod, which is an application that teachers can use in the classroom and also for the distance asynchronous learning. It's a tool that could be used going into our hybrid model. And it had a lot of really great features. And so people had a chance to walk through that with her and then have some time in their subject-like groups to talk about how that might be helpful for them and how they might see themselves using it. And we had about 12 or 15 staff members that showed an interest that they would like to potentially use it or find out more information or practice more with it to see if it's something they would use. So it was a really good professional learning this morning. And that's all that I have.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board for Principal Fluke?
And I'll continue from there, and I won't go too long, hopefully. So moving on through our board report in staff and student recognition, Mrs. Fluke and I have continued to do our silly weekly videos to recognize our awesome students for working really hard with those dog tag raffles that we do, where we raffle off kids in different ways, really silly videos if you haven't seen them, but we recognize our students and they get mailed home with prizes, and that's just a part of our positive behavior support program. Mrs. Oaks's community challenge class created a video, and it was called "In a World Full of Hate, Be a Light." And the goal of the video was to have a positive impact on others around them, and we shared that with our staff and students as well. And really, this is from a few weeks ago, but we got through semester 1, and I just, as far as student and staff recognition, congratulations to everybody, and even throw families in there as well for navigating through semester 1. This has been challenging and has forced us all to be flexible, open-minded, but we really want to praise our staff for their positive attitudes, their willingness to try new things, kids flexibility, family flexibility, and from what we've been able to see just firsthand, the resiliency that our staff has shown through the ups and downs, the fires, the ice storms, you name it. They're there with us and going through things every day to bring the best education they possibly can to our kids, and just bringing passion to their profession and love and care to their kids. And that's what we want out of our teachers, and they're bringing that every day. So thank you to everybody for getting through that. And now we're getting closer to having kids back. So that's really, I know everyone's really excited for that. So we're all planning, which actually takes me into the school improvement. And a big part of our school improvement at this point in the year is planning for reopening. And maybe reopening is the wrong word because we've been open. It's just reopening to in-person instruction. So we have actually created a reopening team that's made up of teachers, administrators, maintenance staff, office staff, and middle and high school students. And we really wanted to try and involve as many stakeholders as possible when we considered reopening to our hybrid plan, and using all those minds together. And it's really interesting working with all those people because they all come with a different lens, which is really important when you're thinking about not only reopening after a full year off, but reopening with now needing to take COVID measures and consider those when we bring kids back. So how we've kind of outlined things is every week that we meet as a team, we talked about things like sanitization, COVID safety, and maintenance. We discussed last week procedures. This week we're moving on to transition, so student movement. We've got some student expectation guidelines coming up, and then also staff information and guidelines that we will be meeting about in the next couple of weeks. So every week we have a goal and a topic that we discuss. We've been through a couple already, like I say, sanitization and maintenance, and then procedures. Tomorrow we'll move on to transitions. So we've kind of got these things lined out, and once we get it all hammered out, we will release that information to staff and eventually kind of in a form to students and parents as well, just so everyone kind of knows what we're doing when we reopen. From there, we are continuing with our CPS parenting class. CPS is collaborative problem solving, and this was a class that we're doing with a partnership with Yamhill County Care Organization. It's an 8-week class for parents who signed up, and it did start about a month ago now, and I think they're on to their 4th meeting week, maybe their 5th, 4th, 5th, right in there, 4th. And 9th grade on track. That team continues to meet. We actually met today. And we're just, again, the goal of that team is to discuss 9th graders and trying to keep them on track as much as possible. One of those biggest indicators for high school success is 9th graders being on track. And distance learning has posed a unique challenge for keeping those kids on track, but that's what this team is here for. And we just met today and kind of identified kids that at this point in time after first semester aren't there. And then we've got to start kind of laying out plans for what do we do now with those kids. And honestly, kid to kid, the circumstances are different and the plans may look different, but that's what that team does. Lastly, as far as new things, really about 470 students total. And we've already passed President's Day, so I think that's it for me.
Couple questions on the kids that you're going to be reopening March 9th. How many students and or families, parents, however you want to put it, decided to stay at distance and not do the hybrid thing?
That's a really good question. Mrs. Fluke might have some of that data for you. I know we have just over maybe about half the parents, so we could at least give you a rough estimate if she can pull that up. And I think middle high school their first day with kids back is March 16th.
Sarah Nolan might be able to at least tell you for the kids that are attending what percentage that is, Sarah?
Yeah, I don't have exact numbers or percentage. I do know that we've had a lot of our Acellus kids, which is our online program, choose to come on site.
Okay.
I would say maybe if there's 10 Acellus kids in a grade level, about half of them are coming back on campus.
I'm curious how many parents per se are scared to death to have their kids come on campus, really.
Yeah, there's definitely a few, but they're just choosing to keep their child on Acellus. I can get the numbers for the next meeting.
And I will say I do think there will be a portion of those kids who do come back into our hybrid, which is the half day in person. But we did make it clear even at the beginning of the year, because we didn't know when we were going to reopen. It could at the time we didn't know if it was going to be November, December, and we made it clear that like if you choose that option, beware that we might be reopening. So consider that when you're choosing this option. And I think a lot of families, I can't speak for everyone, and this is kind of generalizing, but families knew that ahead of time. And some of the families I've talked to that have chosen to stay in CDL in our Edgenuity program, they might have specific reasons, like they're living with people who are elderly, or I know, you know, a sibling has a pre-existing condition that's very serious. So a lot of times there are those reasons, but I do anticipate a small shift moving back into hybrid. What, Jamie, were you able to find anything?
Yeah, we just, on that survey, we'd asked which schooling option, and it's about, right now, it's about 85% is the hybrid coming back, and about 14% it's staying in comprehensive distance learning, but we still don't have everyone returning everything. But I would say, for the most part, if people were switching, they made the switch at the semester. I don't see too many people making that switch. Well, it would be really difficult too, I think, with the way our semesters are. It'd probably be maybe easier to move into CDL if someone wanted to, but it's going to kind of depend on the situation.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah.
Principals?
One more. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
As far as ninth graders on track, give me a percentage.
I have that. We have, so what indicates a ninth grader on track is if they have, if they're passing a quarter, if they've obtained a quarter of their credits, they need to graduate by the end of their freshman year. And then if they have failed no more than one F in a core class. And so what we did is, at the end of semester one, our students would need 6 credits by the end of their freshman year to be on track to have a quarter of their credits of the 24 needed to graduate. And so what we did is we just looked at the kids who are below 3 credits, and it's really not that many kids. I don't have a percentage, but I just have it here. And then we had some kids that got incompletes in science and math, and they are in the process of getting those up. So once again, as far as failing more than one core class, it's a very small amount of kids, like less than 10, I would say, if that.
Okay.
And
Our freshmen-
ninth grade.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the follow-up is what's the plan? I mean, you just gonna give them a lot of extra attention for a while, or that's what you intend to try, or? I mean,
Yeah, well,
we need to bring them along, so.
Yeah, well, we know that the biggest, we have 2 students that right now that would need to probably look at retaking their English class, because that was one of them. The others, we can work with them throughout to build those other credits back, but English, you need 4 credits of, 1 every year. So that's not something that they can make up along the way, whereas math and science, they need 3. So I feel like I feel like it's very doable. We're going to see after this week how many, like, look at specifically those students, because some of them that had incompletes, if they complete that, they'll be on track. And so we'll have a better idea. But yeah, we want to narrow it down. We also identified the students that, just right after 3 weeks, if we're noticing that they're not engaging, so we want to get on top of that a lot faster. We know having them in school is going to make a huge difference, because we can talk with them and help them and help them plan and organize their time, get the help they need. We have quite a group working with it. So I feel really good about moving forward.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And just a reminder too, I know that he gave his presentation last time to the people that were online, but we do have our student representative online as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm gonna make you have to give your speech twice, Spire.
Yeah. So this week, I've gathered some new information from a couple of the different clubs. Some of them mainly include the sports, such as football, where our first official practice started today. We have around 15 to 20-ish guys who are wanting to come play this season, which is awesome, because we were expecting lower numbers. with how much of a time we had to take off for playing it. But we're really excited for this season. And we actually have our first official game, which will be on March 12th, and we'll be playing at Salem Academy. We have a small league, 5 to 6 games this year, but it's better than nothing. Then the kids are really excited to go out and play. For volleyball, I know that some of the girls, they went over to a tournament in Utah this weekend. I think they were either currently playing it or they just got finished. I don't know the results of it yet. But then the girls that did not go, the volleyball practice did start up today for them. So everyone's excited for that. Same with cross country. Mr. Fasana has a couple kids that he's taking out, and their practices started today as well. And then for FFA, we had our advanced Parley Pro team. They got first at districts, and they qualified for sectionals, which will take place on March 3rd. The beginning Parley Pro team got second at districts, but they still qualified for sectionals, which are also on March 3rd. And then for SMILE, our science and math club, we will have a meeting on February 23rd if you are interested in taking part in it. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to do it this year with our online, trying to do projects in person, yet still keep everyone safe and healthy with COVID. So that's what the meeting's mainly going to be about. And then also, I know that Ms. Fluke and Mr. Draper touched on this as well, but a group of students, including myself, are also working with the faculty on the school reopening plan. There's a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, a senior, and if I remember correctly, there's also an 8th grader, and we're all working together on the school reopening team, trying to give our perspectives and our sides from our classmates to try and make the school reopening easy and as best as it can for everyone. And that is all I have to report. Thank you, guys.
Any questions for Mr. Nelson?
I've got a question for Carrie.
Sure.
As far as student athletes going out of state, is there a quarantine issue when they come back, or how does that work?
Well, there isn't, so travel restrictions are advisory. We ask that people, if they have not had, so the CDC requires, they changed it from 14 days to 10 days, and if you go get a test, it can be 7 days. So they want you to get a test like in the day 3 to 5 after potential exposure, and if you test negative, then you can come back after day 7. But now if you fly, you have to get a COVID test within 3 days before you fly, and you have to get a rapid test when you return. And so,
as far as coming into the school,
yeah,
is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, we're asking people to quarantine if they go somewhere and do something that would be prohibited in Oregon.
Okay.
Fire,
So,
do you have a game time for Salem Academy?
I do not. Hopefully, my dad's on the call right now. Dad, do you know what the game time is for Salem Academy?
That was one thing that Jerry Basinski was speaking about today. It may be as early as 5 p.m., but more than likely at 7 p.m. There's also a shortage of referees this year, which is something that I had not thought of in reality. So just making sure there's enough refs for games and everything like that. So I think it'll either be 5 p.m. or 7 p.m., but Jerry was going to get back to us.
pretty much. I'm just curious what the protocol was.
Sarah did a better job of communicating a protocol to the elementary. I did less of a good job, or the high school, as far as communicating. We just kind of expected staff to know the expectations, but with that, even within our own community, I mean, there are things that you find out that people are doing that don't meet the governor's expectations, and we just decided we really can't police everyone outside of their school day. And I mean, you would spend your whole job just doing that.
Okay.
So I did hear like Grace went to Utah, and she said they're quarantined for like 7 days, and then they're doing a COVID test or something. So I think that's what she told me.
Particularly if they participate in something that they wouldn't be allowed to participate in Oregon.
Yeah, I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
I mean, from my personal opinion, that somebody shouldn't come back to school, but I didn't know what the rules were involving
Yeah.
that, because I'm sure there are some.
Yeah, well, they're recommended, they're not required, so ODE put out a recommendation. I polled Sheridan, Dayton, Amity, and YC, and none of them have policies on travel.
Okay.
Just Dayton's response was just pay attention to symptoms. Sheridan didn't have one that she knew of. Yamhill Carlton didn't, and Amity didn't.
Okay. Anything else for Mr. Nelson from the board? Do we have a tribal report?
Thank you, Spire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
don't
Nelson.
think anyone's on the call from the tribe. I can see the list here.
And we will look forward to hearing from the tribe next month. Audience time. Any member of the audience wish to bring something up that is not otherwise on the agenda? Hearing nothing, we move on to decision item. We have a bully complaint agreement.
So, you have a letter from Lisa Fraley, who is our school attorney with Willamette ESD. I sent you an email prior to the board meeting just to give you a little bit of background information. Many districts within the Willamette ESD region use EduStaff as a contractor for substitutes. So all of our substitutes come to us through the EduStaff system. EduStaff does the payment, training, and there was a substitute that went through training and filed a complaint against EduStaff for non-payment. And Boley is representing her, and we are listed in the complaint because we are one of the districts that uses EduStaff. This is a substitute that has never worked in our district specifically, but everyone that uses EduStaff was listed in the complaint. And we are members, or we're paying members of OSBA, the legal trust. And so we have that at our service to use to help with litigation expenses if it should get to that level. It's not there right now, but if it were to, and then this is just a letter authorizing Willamette ESD on Willamina's behalf to engage with the legal trust.
I will entertain a motion. Is there one from the board?
I move that the Willamina School District authorize legal counsel to move forward with requesting assistance from the OSBA Legal Assistant Trust to assist with costs of litigation in the Bureau of Labor and Industries Order Termination Case number 1125 Willamina School District Resolution number 2021-8.
Second. So what's your personal opinion on this? Or your professional opinion, however you want to put it? How do you feel about it?
I do not have an opinion professionally because I do not understand education law. Ms. Freely is a classmate of mine, so I recognize her education. She's got a good legal education. On its face, for what it's worth, I think Boley is wrong. No school district, I believe, is a co-employer for any substitute teacher or staff through EduStaff. But that is the decision of whoever found for Boley that we are. And if you hadn't seconded, I would have. It is important that this matter be resolved very quickly and very decisively, one side or the other, so that we know how to proceed with substitute teachers. Any other comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the audience? Seeing none, I call for the question. All in favor of Willamina School District authorizing legal counsel to move forward with requesting assistance from the OSBA Legal Assistance Trust to assist with costs of litigation in the Bureau of Labor and Industries order determination, case number 20-1125, Willamina School District resolution number 2021-02. Signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed by saying nay. I believe this motion is passed unanimously. Move on to reports and discussions. I have no indication that there are reports or discussions.
So no reports or discussions at this time. I already mentioned when in the superintendent's report, just acknowledging the Division 22 report, and that I over-reported and gave you a new copy and highlighted in yellow the standards which were reportable for the 1921 biennium. They drastically reduced them due to kids not in school.
Okay. We have personnel renewal and non-renewal issues coming up, superintendent's evaluation, budget calendar, and school calendar for 2021-2022, should such an animal ever exist. I'm sorry, personal comment. We do have the calendar to discuss in future board meetings. For those who are eligible to be a board member for the Willamina School District, I encourage you, put your application in the Yamhill County Clerk's office. The deadline is coming up within, I think, about 3.5 weeks. About the third week of March, I think.
Yeah, it's like March 18th or something.
I'm sorry?
That's like March 18th or something.
March 15th.
18th.
So, yeah, we've got just 3 more weeks there are 3 board positions that are coming up for election in May. And those board members will, their positions will terminate the end of June, and either they or new board members will take over July 1. I strongly encourage anybody who is eligible, that would be 18 and older, not an employee of the school district, put your hat in the ring. It's an important position to be able to make decisions for the school district. Anything else for the good of the order?
Did you guys bring your superintendent evaluations?
Oh, heavens no. Sorry for the flippant answer. I forgot it. I will bring it to the office tomorrow.
Okay. And so do we want to do in March an executive session to review those results?
Yes. 6:30 for executive session. Is that going to be an acceptable time?
I believe so.
Yep.
Okay.
On the 8th, before our next meeting.
Yeah, before, yeah.
It'll be just before the regular board meeting. Ms. Whitman, you okay with 6:30?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Hearing nothing else, we are adjourned.
So, bands.
And now my job is to get out of here before she gives me something to sign.
Okay.